0 enemy aircraft shot down. 2 near-death experiences for the test crew. 1 rocket launched directly from an engineer's bare hands, straight at a friendly plane overhead. Welcome to the Water Snowflake, the naval weapon so catastrophically incompetent it tried to kill its own inventors twice in a single afternoon. Welcome to the bunker. I'm Professor Von Blunder, and today we're diving into one of World War II's most spectacular floating failures. Picture this. It's the early 1940s. The Royal Navy has a problem. Low-flying enemy aircraft are buzzing their ships, and they need a weapon to stop them. The solution? A rocket in a waterproof container that floats in the ocean, waits exactly 30 seconds, then fires itself into the sky. Think of it like a pool noodle packed with high explosives and a very short temper. What could possibly go wrong? Spoiler alert: everything. The mastermind behind this floating disaster was a man named Boswell, an engineer, a man who clearly never considered the phrase, "what if it points the wrong way?" In naval engineering terms, that means they built a firework that floats and pointed it at the sky. The Water Snowflake was beautifully simple in theory. You drop it in the water, it bobs around looking innocent. 30 seconds later, boom, a rocket screams upward and hopefully hits an enemy plane. Hopefully, the Royal Air Force lent Boswell a high-speed launch for testing off the coast of Ramsgate. Boswell explained the plan to the coxswain, the man driving the boat. Drop the snowflake into the sea, attach it to a line, pay the line out slowly as the boat moves ahead, wait 30 seconds, watch the fireworks. Easy. Test 1. They dropped the first snowflake into the water. 30 seconds later, it fired. But it went off way too close to the launch for the coxswain's liking. The coxswain, understandably, did not enjoy being near a live rocket. So when they lowered the second snowflake into the water, he made an executive decision. He decided discretion was the better part of valor. He opened the throttle. He went full speed ahead. Brilliant plan. Except for one tiny detail. The proximity of the snowflake to the launch depended entirely on how fast the line could be paid out. And the line could not be paid out faster than physics allowed. So in a few glorious seconds, the coxswain was now towing the snowflake container horizontally. The rocket was pointing straight at the observers on board. Straight at Boswell. Straight at everyone. Now, what would you do if a live rocket was pointing straight at your face? Boswell tried shouting. He tried frantic gesticulations. But the launch had too much momentum. Nothing could stop it. So everyone did the only rational thing. They lay flat on the open deck and waited for the explosion. The rocket fired at point-blank range. How it missed the launch was a miracle. The coxswain learned his lesson. For the rest of the day, he treated the Water Snowflake with the deepest respect. You'd think nearly getting killed by your own weapon would be enough for one day. But Boswell was nothing if not optimistic. Time for Phase 2, the airborne test. An elderly Fleet Air Arm plane was brought in. The plan was simple. The plane would fly overhead and drop water snowflakes into the sea. Boswell would time them as they hit the water. If any refused to go off, the coxswain would bring the launch alongside and haul them back on board. What could go wrong this time? Spoiler: everything. Again. At first, things went well. The plane flew up and down, dropping containers. Boswell timed them diligently. A few duds were retrieved safely. But then the pilot seemed unduly anxious to get rid of his load. He started flying in tight circles. He dropped water snowflakes at such a pace that Boswell could no longer keep track of them all. They were raining from the sky like the world's worst confetti. 12 had been retrieved safely. And then Boswell saw something that made his blood run cold. An enthusiastic aircraftman had just pulled a perfectly good container out of the water. It was lying on the deck, smoking furiously. In tactical terms, that means Boswell was now holding a live grenade with wings. Well, not yet. Boswell knew it was about to detonate. He had maybe 2 seconds. He picked it up to hurl it over the side. But it was too late. The water snowflake fired. It climbed straight out of his arms, straight toward the plane overhead. The pilot had chosen that precise moment to fly low over the launch, as he dropped the last of his containers. The rocket screamed upward. The pilot nearly had a heart attack. Boswell stood there, hands still outstretched, probably reconsidering his entire career. In military effectiveness terms, the Water Snowflake's kill count was 0 enemies, 0 planes, but 1 engineer's dignity and several pairs of trousers, the weapon that launched itself, from a man's hands, at his own plane. Genius. And that brings us to the stupidity meter. Let's rate the Water Snowflake out of 10, shall we? Money wasted? Moderate. An RAF launch, plane time dozens of prototype rockets that mostly tried to murder their own crew. Enemies killed? 0. Absolutely 0. The only thing the Water Snowflake ever threatened was the people testing it. Collateral damage to our poor engineer Boswell? Catastrophic. The man held a live rocket as it launched from his bare hands. I'm giving the Water Snowflake a solid 8 out of 10 on the stupidity meter. A weapon so incompetent, it became a danger exclusively to itself. Beautiful. Now, if you had £1 million in 1943 and access to a boat, what stupid floating weapon would you invent? Let me know in the comments below. And pour one out for Boswell. He's still picking rocket shrapnel out of his uniform. Until next time, this is Professor Von Blunder, reminding you that some ideas should stay on the drawing board.